Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Namaskar. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, November 16, 2021, Tuesday. मैं सूरज सिंह सिविल इंजीनियर भारत इंडिया से बोल रहा हूँ। आज दिनांक 16 नवंबर 2021 मंगलवार सुबह के करीब करीब 3:40। Very important one, these certifications. And requirement. This is a requirement, and this is in contracts we have to discuss. Very important one, महत्वपूर्ण बातें, मेरी आइडेंटिटी. My identity is this, fellow of Institution of Engineers, and I close the certificates now. You can say, we stand on quality. Very important one matter. This is, you can say, Institution of Engineers India, Royal Chartered, incorporated by Royal Charter 1935, FIE. This is where I am here. And this is my email ID. suraj_engineer@yahoo.co.uk. Quality issue, important one, significant one, बहुत महत्वपूर्ण issue. बार बार दिखाता हूँ. I show every time so that you can understand this. Very important one for everyone, because life is engineering. जिंदगी में क्वालिटी के बिना कुछ हो नहीं सकता. It's very important. 3:45. Every time we say quality can never be ignored. Quality can never be and must not be compromised by engineers and public. बार बार कहते हैं टॉपिक वही कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स quality and contracts communication coordination why always be behind quality of materials. Quality means perfection. Perfection not idealistic but to requirement. What we decide that must be done. What decision we have taken during design stage, because design stage is very important. It's not structural design I am talking complete design, which is architectural design, structural design, and before that scheme. So you can say scheme design, plan, whatever you say, on which we can say all disciplines are involved. It can be planning or master plan or key plan based on related to technological requirement, which technology is to be applied for purpose of plant facilities or whatever other scheme. That technology is very significant factor for whatever planning we do, and that technology design is first. That is more than ordinary design. Technology itself is a product. Itself is a product of intense studies, intense research conducted by various top people of that domain expertise. Once technology is decided, then we know what is that process, and depending on our requirement of that plant, we can say this much area is required at this location where that source is available. For example, sources, fossil fuels or gas or something like that, which must be located nearby water bodies. And those water bodies are those where such reservoirs beneath are available, and those water bodies are called oceans or seas. This means generally major plants related to fossil fuels, which require direct first ab initio treatment from offshore to onshore, offshore location to onshore location. It's that plant which is, you can say, designed and installed or commissioned after long gap of construction. That plant we call plant facility, and that is very important one. It's much more than ordinary contracts, because here designs and pre-design feed as well as construction, and after that everything is over. Permanent operation and maintenance for coming decades. It may be that in designs it take couple of years of complete design, including feed, including survey, including everything. Let us say 5 years it takes, then it takes another 30 to 50 years for operation. So you can say a plant means a life of human being. Likewise, a plant means it consumes about 40 years, 50 years during its working, during service. Means at least take 5 years for its construction, including designs, and then say 30 to 40 years for its operation, successful operation without causing problems. And maybe after a profit of technology continues in force, then you can say it can take another 10-15 years for its continuous operation if there are no major changes in technology after retrofitting or hauling of plant. It's very important point to understand. We are talking of some major projects here. We're not talking very small projects. Even if small projects are, these can be related to this kind of talks. Therefore, title is Field Engineering. It is Civil Field Engineering and Engineers Life and related quality, requirement, fulfillment, and you can say contracts. And when I say contracts means a very important part, because contract is a mechanism. Contract is a mechanism which gives everybody an opportunity to do good job to be done by employers should be good, done by contractors should be good, and it should be supported to people or to stakeholders who are small, who are going to use this, and where quality and safety are met criteria. Quality of product is very, very significant here, because without quality, product got no value. So product and safety means not safety during construction itself, safety during operational stage, and safety during use of product. And these are all both related, and these require good design, good construction, good methods and contracts, and of course communication and coordination, which is root of everything, means which can resolve problems, which can give you some benefit of recording, which can give you some good connections to every activity. And why always behind that? That's the most important question we can raise, because without these we can't get product. Always there is process, chemical process or physical process, or in construction also there are processes called operations, events or activities. And this must be taken care of right in sequence, or else we miss something. So that's why title is very selective, elective and suitable. This title fits in its purpose. So we say quality can never be and must not be compromised by engineers and by public. And when I say public, means end user. Who is going to be user of that product? That person should not find any complaint or any disagreement with product, because what is expected is that should be delivered, that should have been delivered. It's very important point. हमें कोई भी प्रोजेक्ट करना है, हमारे पास काफ़ी वर्ष होते हैं, वो क्या प्रोजेक्ट है, कौन सी तकनीक पर आधारित है, ये देखना है। वो तकनीक क्या चाहती है, क्या हम उसको इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं, हमारे पास सोर्सेज हैं, प्राकृतिक सोर्सेज, वो कहाँ हैं, वो वाटर बॉडी में है कहीं है, और अगर वाटर बॉडी में है तो समुद्र चाहिए, और धातु पर काम करना है, समुद्र से हमें ऑफशोर से तेल निकालना है और ऑनशोर पर लाकर उसका प्लांटिंग प्रोसेस करना है। उसके लिए लंबा समय डिज़ाइन को मिला के कंस्ट्रक्शन का 5 वर्ष भी हो सकता है, उसकी लाइफ 30-40 वर्ष भी हो सकती है। इतने समय में कोई चीज़ हम दे रहे हैं तो वो आसानी से खेल नहीं हो सकता, उसमें बड़ा कुछ करना पड़ेगा, बड़े बड़े प्रोसेस, केमिकल प्रोसेस, फिजिकल प्रोसेस उसमें देने होंगे, और सबके लिए डिज़ाइन में कुछ वर्ष और कंस्ट्रक्शन में कुछ मिला के आप कह सकते हैं 5 वर्ष में ऑपरेशन की स्टेज पे आ जाएगा। वो ऑपरेशन उसको हम कहते हैं केमिकल ऑपरेशन, और यू कैन से प्रोसेसिंग प्लांट और रिफाइनिंग प्लांट, वॉट एवर इट इज़, it's called facilities, and that becomes backbone of every economy of all world. And we have seen examples and references, the whole Middle East, or Gulf countries, Arabian Gulf countries, which are called GCC, and Middle East countries like Iraq or Iran, or you can say Libya, or many other such countries where oil is produced, like even in Africa, you can say Nigeria and many other countries. And now in West, of course, in West too, it is USA, and of course many countries in other parts of the world have such reservoirs, and all those reservoirs require some facilities first to extract out carbon from offshore facilities, and onshore we have to refine them. And that's what we're talking about, because for the purpose require plants, facilities, for which quality is a very significant part. Quality and safety is very important in those parts, because safety means explosion of fire, which is very, 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 very often is a very common environment, very common. It can happen very easily in those plants because of operation and forming clouds, chemical clouds in environment itself. So we have to be very careful about fire, we have to be very careful about fire extinguishing, and also loss prevention measures. Likewise, you can say it's a question of safety, and not only during production or refining, also during use of that. Safety is a very important part, because people don't understand that. For example, if you have a gas cylinder at home, it's very, very small item, very important item, a dangerous item.
The same cylinder which used for cooking can also result in explosion if no precautions is taken about its safety. Same way, where there is ignorance, where there is no action, where there is no care, safety can lead us to destruction. If we are not safe, it can lead to destruction, it can lead to explosion, it can lead to whatever state of bad safety. So we have to understand this point. No compromise means quality has no replacement. We must have good quality, we must have good safety. नो रिप्लेसमेंट, क्वालिटी की जगह कोई नहीं ले सकता, उसी तरह से सुरक्षा की जगह कोई नहीं ले सकता। होश में रहना, दिमाग से रहना, ध्यान से रहना बहुत आवश्यक है। ये चीज़ें प्लांट्स की जो मैं बातें कर रहा हूँ सब पे लागू होती हैं, क्योंकि आप उसको यूज़ करते हैं। आपके घर में गैस है, आपके घर में पेट्रोल है, कार में आपके यहाँ बैटरी है, जो भी है, जो भी चीज़ें एनर्जी से आती हैं। When we talk of plants, in fact we talk of energy. Energy, Shakti, energy is very important for life. And when we talk of this, it is energy related. Fossil fuel energy, which gives us, you can say, plastic products, which gives us epoxy, which gives us, you can say, electrical requirements to some extent. Likewise, plants, when we talk of powerhouses, we talk of you can say whatever type of powerhouses, we talk of some other plants which produce something else. Wherever process is required, process is conducted for reaching product production. दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट वे टू अंडरस्टैंड। हमें समझना होगा, जब हम प्लांट्स की बात करते हैं तो हम एक जनरल बात करते हैं लाइफ में। प्लांट्स पेट्रोकेमिकल्स या नॉन पेट्रोकेमिकल्स दोनों हो सकते हैं। अब क्योंकि हर एक का एक्सपीरियंस हर जगह नहीं होता है, लेकिन फाउंडेशंस, दूसरे स्ट्रक्चर सब जगह होते हैं। वेसल्स आर अवेलेबल एवरीवेयर, इक्विपमेंट आर अवेलेबल एवरीवेयर, मशीन्स आर अवेलेबल एवरीवेयर। दिस आर ऑल डिजाइंड एंड इंस्टॉल्ड, एंड quality for these machines can be obtained in factories or in manufacturing area, whereas quality of construction of foundations must be obtained on sites. Purpose of this talk is that you have to understand. I'm not here to explain perfection on plants. I'm just trying to explain and refer to you where we require quality, because my expertise is not in plants or somewhere else, but it's only in the small work of civil engineering. I am basically a elementary qualified civil engineer with having some years of experience, say 3 to 4 decades only. I can't say that I'm perfect one expert, but let us say refer myself expert in the sense of experience, not in sense of theoretical knowledge. By virtue of my whatever small experience, I try to express, share my thoughts, school of thoughts, university of thoughts with those who require such information. And that's really a requirement of profession. The dissemination of information is very significant for everybody. If dissemination of information is absent, how can you let people know about facts? अगर हम लोगों को नहीं बताएंगे टेक्नोलॉजी क्या है, क्वालिटी क्या है, गुणवत्ता क्या है, सेफ्टी सुरक्षा क्या है, हम लोगों तक कैसे अपनी बात पहुंचा सकते हैं। लोगों तक पहुंचना, पब्लिक तक पहुंचना इंजीनियरिंग के बारे में, टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में बहुत आवश्यक है। जब तक लोग इसको वास्तविकता में नहीं लेंगे, समझेंगे नहीं कि गुणवत्ता क्या होती है, सुरक्षा क्या होती है, वो ऐसे ही रहेंगे लापरवाह। उनको इन्फॉर्मेशन ज़रूरी है। मुझे पता है, मैं इंजीनियर हूँ, आपको पता है आप इंजीनियर हैं, पढ़े लिखे हैं, और वो इन्फॉर्मेशन उन लोगों तक जानी चाहिए जो उसको वास्तविक लाइफ में यूज़ करेंगे। उनको नहीं ये पहुँचती तो हमारा कोई पर्पस हल नहीं होता है, हमारा कोई सॉल्यूशन नहीं है। कहते रहे हम इंजीनियर हैं अपने आप को, लेकिन हमको लोगों को शिक्षा देनी है, वो भी हमारी जिम्मेदारी है। It's very important part that we have to disseminate knowledge to each and every one of our society. That information must reach, and these people cannot read books, these people cannot attend seminars, these people cannot attend a conference. You cannot expect them to know about that. So what's left behind means there is no arrangement for distributing or disseminating such knowledge to all people or society. What's way out is this person to person. I should do my efforts, I should do it to those many people who seek information. And remember, public is not very well educated. They don't understand communication. They believe only in talks and something like that. 95% like that. So what to do then? You have to do as much as possible. At least safety and quality must be known to people, if not technology. People know it through systems. People refer to internet. People refer to mails. People refer to so much. But internet is very good system these days. A network which can reach to many people as possible. Only I try to think to use. I think to use this medium for welfare of people. As far as science and engineering is concerned, I'm not scientist, but engineering was my profession. So whatever I can do in engineering for this purpose, I have to do it. And that's the only way I try to share my information with those who seek such information or who may criticize my information, as it doesn't matter to me, because criticism is also part of dissemination of information. Criticism means you select some point, some point, and you want to argue. Okay, fine, you have to comment on that. Maybe I can improve my thought, or maybe my thoughts can improve your thoughts. Both reciprocation is important, both way. It's therefore very much essential that we should open our eyes. Mind eyes, not physical eyes alone. Mind eyes should be open, and as a professional, it's my duty to keep my mind open, so that I can have interaction with anybody whosoever wants to interact or question me, or I can question that person. That's really very, very significant. The point must be this. It's also part of quality interaction. You can say interaction must be based on quality. If you don't have quality interaction, you don't have quality system of talking to each other or coordinating with each other, there's no way out. Coordination, again I say, coordination and communication are integrated part. These two parameters, these two knowledge areas, these two systems are very important for communication, and for successful communication, and for successful work, because communication is basis of information exchange, and information exchange is basis of providing information. And if information doesn't reach to a person on site who does or in a plant, wherever, if information is missed, means you can miss whole process, or you can do process in the incorrect way or incomplete way. And that's where it's important to let people know about this. That's the only purpose for that. I try to do this by using these topics of quality, safety methods, construction methods, contracting, communication, coordination, designs, etc. in this talk. It's very, very useful for me. At least I can refresh my memory and share my information that I have with you guys. And if you want to take it, it's fine. Thank you very much. If you take it, if you don't take it, somebody else will take it, or of course it shall remain in record. And even I die, means somebody can have reference to that one. I tried one day just to think about this. Means I have internet, why should I waste time? Why not to do some? Because I have any other means. I can't write books. Even if I write books on that, takes time, and publication is very important. It doesn't happen. Professional books are written, but these cannot be published because commercial interest lies there. Publishers, and they don't care for. They only care books are sold in market, and people are not ready to buy such books. It's not easy when students don't buy, professionals don't buy. And I published through CBS one book in 1996. This was building practice, civil engineering building practice of site, how to conduct site in those days. And there was no computer. That didn't result in very well sale. The book I'm not interested in sale. I'm interested in people should have information. That was my focus, but it didn't work. Then I wrote some other books also, and my publisher, CBS in Delhi, was not happy with my publication because it did not received very well in sales market. So then I had left no other option, but what to do? There's no other way. I wrote many other books, but the publisher did not support. So when I didn't know computer at that time in 90s, then I tried to learn computer in 98, and when I came to know that I can support myself and internet medium is available. I got it and know that it's better, it's useful in that way. So this is now a long journey as far as communication is concerned. I've been communicating with guys since 2 decades minimum. You can say I used to communicate on Safi and then on hindutoday.com, that's not available now, and on a website like Facebook. Later on I started and I got it that Facebook can be used for that purpose, and also LinkedIn you can say, and wherever possibility exists. I try to communicate posting or answering posting, and now I started posting here as well, posting like videos, online videos, or like written postings, and also face-to-face talks. And I got facility of document share on Facebook itself, which is not available in YouTube. So I try to convert from face-to-face talks through you to refer documents to you directly on this medium of Facebook document screen share. So I thought it's better to do whatever can do for my own refresher as well as for information to guys, so that people don't write, they don't read. Culture has changed. New people, young people, they have no interest in reading, writing. They have no such interest. They have only interest in viewing videos. So I thought, why not to do that by using this medium, which is very much, I think, technological based, and I always try to upgrade my status in a way that people should get benefit of. It's neither for money nor for some fame. It's only for care of life, care of works. Because I've seen quality in my country, dear Bharat, and also in many other parts of the world. Quality doesn't stand on its mark, and in many other countries I have seen its worst. Countries which are number one, even quality there too suffers. I don't name, but it's a fact. So it's better keeping in view. It's not a question of commercialization. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in good work, means good quality work. That's my intention. And when we talk of communication, we talk of coordination. This means we talk of works. And when we talk of works, means this is civil engineering works or whatever else. And particularly I'm interested in civil engineering works because these works continue for years. This cannot be completed in one day. That's the reason I am interested in this quality system and system quality. Ne? When we talk of works means coordination based work, quality work, safe work, communicative work, useful work. You can say whatever knowledge area we have, cost, quality, time, resources, technology, safety, whatever discipline you can pull in, you can import into your work. You have to. I mean, even if you don't want to import, it will be imported itself. That's what system says. That was system commands, and we should understand system because it's our own made. Nobody came from moon or from other planet to give a system. System is just collection of information how to do a job. System is nothing else. It's not building, it's not mountain, it's your own procedures. Even if you don't formalize system, it shall work. That's true. System worked before also when there was no quality system. Quality like ISO 9001 or Sigma. Works were done in those days also very well. And It's nothing very miraculous, I can say, but this collection of certain activities, information, sequences, whether in office or on site or in factory or industry or in process or whatever you say in life, these systems are produced on papers by experienced people and then analyzed and further improved. Or we can say same way, plan, do, check and improve, as we say in our planning system. Plan something, do something, check something and improve something, right? Plan, do, check and improve, we say. And system is like that. You have to plan. Of course we know what to do. We know to construct the building or some development work. We require some land. Then we have to design, we have to survey, we have to construct, and then it says completed, and this facility can be used. हम जब भी कोई काम करते हैं सोचने के लिए, कोई भी सिस्टम बनाते हैं, तो इसमें हम कुछ ऐसा ऐड नहीं करते कि हमें रिसर्च किया हो. वो सब कुछ पहले ही होता आया है, पहले से हो रहा है. आप कह सकते हैं कितने दशकों से वो सिस्टम चल रहे हैं, लेकिन कागजों में नहीं थे, वो फॉर्मली लिखे हुए नहीं थे, कहीं पब्लिश नहीं थे, लेकिन चल रहे थे. बिना ज़मीन के आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते, बिना पानी के आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते. हर एक्टिविटी पहले भी चलती थी. बस अब एक तरह से आप कह सकते हैं उसको रिटन डॉक्यूमेंट में ले आए हैं. इसको हम कहते हैं सर्टिफाइड क्वालिटी सिस्टम. सर्टिफाइड कह लीजिए, क्वालिटी सिस्टम कह लीजिए. क्वालिटी को एक रिटन शेप दे दिया गया है, डॉक्यूमेंट्री शेप दे दिया गया है, जिसको हम S9001 कह सकते हैं, सिग्मा कह सकते, कुछ भी कह सकते हैं हम उसको. लेकिन उसमें नया कुछ नहीं है. एक बात आवश्यक है, उस सिस्टम में नया कुछ नहीं है, सब पुराना है. और उस पुराने को समझना है, हम कैसे आगे बढ़ते हैं लेकर अपने सिस्टम को, कितना उसको हम चलाते हैं या उससे चलते हैं. दोनों बातें हैं. सिस्टम हमें चलाएगा या हम सिस्टम को इम्प्रूव करके चलाएंगे. कभी हम चलते हैं, कभी हम चलाते हैं, दोनों बातें होती हैं. क्योंकि सिस्टम कोई फिज़िकल मशीन नहीं है. सिस्टम एक माइंड की स्टेट है जो हमने लिख कर दे दी कि हमको ऐसे करना है, और यदि हम उसे करते हैं तो उसको कह देते हैं सिस्टम इज़ बीइंग इम्प्लीमेंटेड, हो रहा है सिस्टम. इसलिए मैं सिस्टम में ज़्यादा न जाते हुए रियलिटी में जाऊंगा, क्योंकि मैंने देखा है सिस्टम बहुत हैं, बहुत दुकानें हैं, बहुत फैक्ट्रीज़ हैं, बहुत इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं. सब ने आप देखेंगे लिखा होगा क्वालिटी सर्टिफाइड, ISO 9000 सर्टिफाइड, सब है. सब ने एक तरह का आप कह सकते हैं सर्टिफिकेट टैग लिया हुआ है. अब सफलता किसी बात पे निर्भर तब करते जब वो वास्तव में सर्टिफाइड है, लेकिन काम भी तो करे, काम भी तो करे ना वैसा. इफ़ यू आर ए सर्टिफाइड कंपनी, सर्टिफाइड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, सर्टिफाइड small company or major company, you say that we abide by this system, then you must abide by that system. And that system abiding doesn't mean audit is okay. No, it's not that. I don't accept that absolutely in terms of you can say requirements. System works okay, fine, you say it works, but I take another way. I want to see product gives that result. That product which we get, for whatever purpose was intended for that product, it shall serve this, it should do that. If it doesn't do this, this means I am only running a system without any product standard. That is not acceptable. If my product or your product, or you can say it's a quality produced product, if it doesn't add that enrichment of quality, I cannot accept that product even if it's produced by a world first class company or manufacturer. It doesn't have any meaning for me if it doesn't meet its requirement. I'm not interested in name or certificate. I am interested to get quality on product. If that product I get is quality based, it may be produced even by a footpath vendor, I don't care. because it serves my purpose. So important point is product and not system. And now system and products both are important. There was a time it was said this system operates, but it doesn't give any guarantee of quality product. This means there is no meaning of system because we want to run system for product. These points are very important. We have to take into consideration. बहुत आवश्यक है इस समझना कि क्वालिटी का मतलब क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट से है, प्रोडक्ट की क्वालिटी से है. अगर हम प्रोडक्ट की क्वालिटी नहीं ले सकते तो हमारे सिस्टम का कोई मतलब नहीं रह जाता है. ये भी बहुत जरूरी बात है. बहुत से लोग सिर्फ डॉक्यूमेंट्स को देखते हैं और काम करते हैं. ऐसे भी मैंने देखा है. हर बात पे कोड्स में जाएंगे. कोड्स ठीक है, कोड्स अपनी जगह है. कोड्स एक रिकमेंडेशन है. कोड्स बताता है आपको ये करना चाहिए, लेकिन करके तो आपको देखना है. आप उसके ऊपर 100% रिलायबिलिटी नहीं ले सकते. समथिंग रिटन बेस्ड ऑन इंफॉर्मेशन और कलेक्शन ऑफ सम साइंस data or research data or notes, or you can say authentic publication. Okay, that's fine. For reference it's okay, but for product it cannot be relied upon until we see this product meets all those parameters, all those specifications which were meant for this. And if it doesn't, then this product has deficiency in its manufacturing. If there's a defect, you can say defect, or you can say it doesn't comply to our requirement, because it can deceive us anytime its lifetime. That we have to see. If that's the state, you can say it's not a quality product. Can't call it, comes in that category. Quality product means it should do its function, which is meant for its design, which is proposed for its design. That is quality product. For this purpose, we have to construct something, we have to manufacture something. We are talking of construction because it's construction is number one in whole world. Because if construction doesn't exist, manufacturing cannot exist, processes cannot exist, or you can say life ceases. Of course, life does not cease; it moves on and on. Because progress moves on, projects moves on, development moves on. Everywhere involved, which country you go to, you shall see development is happening, development is moving, people are moving, life is moving, technologies are being implemented and applied and designed, works are designed. So is our case. Yeah. हम कोई नई बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. कुछ लोग कह देते हैं भाई रोज रोज एक ही बात लेके बैठ जाते हैं, क्वालिटी क्वालिटी क्वालिटी. बोर हो जाते हैं आप लोग, मैं जानता हूँ, लेकिन क्वालिटी तो क्वालिटी. आप बोर हो या ना हो, क्वालिटी तो रहेगी. आप ध्यान नहीं देंगे तो ख़राब हो जाएगी, आप ध्यान देंगे तो अच्छी रहेगी. लेकिन आप प्रोफेशनल हैं तो ये आपका दायित्व बनता है कि क्वालिटी को संभालें. क्वालिटी पहला हिस्सा है, बाकी हिस्सा बाद में. जब रोज़ आप खाना खाते हैं तो बोर नहीं होते हैं आप. जब रोज़ सांस लेते हैं, ज़िंदगी की ऐश करते हैं तो बोर नहीं होते हैं आप. इसलिए रोज़ रोज़ बोलना भी ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि क्वालिटी हर समय हर चीज़ का हिस्सा है. क्वालिटी इज अ पार्ट ऑफ एवरी एक्टिविटी इन लाइफ. इट डजंट मीन इट्स अ सिविल इंजीनियरिंग एक्टिविटी. वॉट एवर एक्टिविटी you conduct in life, quality is very significant there. It may be defined, it may not be defined, but it's essential. We cannot define our body's function, but these functions automatically. Nobody even thinks of plans. I have to ask my body to do this. It automatically functions. That's called natural process, and that's why everything is natural. Even if we say we did it, but no, it's natural. When we produce concrete, we say it's natural process, but we are mixing that. We mix that. That's why after that works, it's always some part is human input, some part is natural input, and both combine together and then work. So it's different, you can say, and that's what we say. We have to depend when so many activities come together, works are done. You can say hundreds and hundreds of activities come together on a project, and these activities result in something, some good or bad product. And here we are discussing what's good and what's bad. If product is good, okay, so we can say it complies with requirements of quality, or if it's bad, it doesn't comply with requirements of quality. That's what we are here for. And there can be no concession in that. How can you say I can grant concession to you? Products is not good. No, not good means not good. Not quality, not quality means rejected, and that's it. Rejected from my project, rejected from my authority. It doesn't mean it's rejected for others' authority. Maybe it is suitable somewhere, and that's why you can say it's a discount sale or sale. You can take 30% off, 40% off, and you can buy it. And that's what, So when we say care of works in contract language, when we talk of contracts, we talk of production contract, construction contract, manufacturing contract. Here I'm talking of construction and design contract, because contract is a building through which our processes move. Building means not physical building, a building process, a building mechanism, a building thought, a building conception. A conception which contains so many other buildings, other chapters. And we should know what these are. Because as an engineer or as a responsible person to administer contracts or to have works carried out by contractor, one should know everything about contract. Even if you work with a contractor, or you work with an engineer, or you work with somebody else, it's very significant that we should understand what is contract. Contract is not a document in itself. It's not only a document, it's a kind of, you can say, mechanism. It's a kind of mechanism that has been based on long experience of people, not one, not two, but thousands of people in life. Contract is a result of long experience. It is based on reality of life, how life moves, how projects can be done. Because when a project is done for, say, and we are talking of those contracts. But here is question, basics of contracts we are talking. How can contract impact lives? How can contract impact your projects? How can contract help it? Because you cannot remember everything for long, every talk for long. What I speak today, it doesn't mean I shall remember it right. I won't remember even after 1 hour, maybe. It happens when you use mind and speak something. I'm not talking of cramming, that you cram something and just go on speaking same again and again like a parrot. It's something which is instantly 11th hour thought of and done. I have spoken so much to you people that I don't need any basic survey. I don't need any fundamental preparation for delivering something or for dissemination of information. Sometimes during talking itself, my mind works and says, oh, you are not to talk this way, to talk some other way. And I change my track. That's where I can say it's very important to contracts to be respected. And contract doesn't mean it's only a document, it's a function. It's a means to move on track for many years or for whole time of construction, so that whatever we thought we designed, that design should be realized in physical terms. And that's very important point we have to understand. We have to visit our mindset, we have to visit our past works, and we have to learn from past works. And if we are fresh, then we have to understand what contract is all about. And again I say, it's duty of everyone, duty of employer, it's duty of contractor, first to have good relations in form of contract document. Question is not I'm going to pay you how much, or you're going to do how much. Question is, it's all based on logic, it's based on reasonable calculations, everything is based on quantities, everything is based on what technology we are going to employ, what resources we are going to apply, and limit of our budget. All these points come under preview of contract formation. And contract is not something that cannot be tackled properly. It's a system again, I say. If you don't have a contract and we agree for work, that's also a contract. Say we don't have any written document which can be called agreement for something, and that has been agreed between two parties and party 1 and party 2. But we can say there is no written statement as such or written format as such which can be called contract document. It doesn't mean if you don't have a contract document you cannot do contract. You buy so much in market, do you have contract document? You buy and you purchase and you sell. It happens in commerce. Without statement also it is contract, because you pay money, you buy something. So there's established a temporary relation between buyer and seller. And buyer and seller constitute that instant contract which is not going to happen in documentation, but it's recorded. You buy that product is delivered to you, money is given to that vendor, and that's what you can say, buying contract. Of course, trust works there and reputation, and you go back again and complain about your product you bought, then that vendor would listen, must listen. So what here question is, we are not buying one item, we are buying whole system. We go to buy whole processing unit, technology from someone, manufacturing units from someone, contract construction from someone, and these someone may be many, many and many. We import all them, collect all them at one place, it's called site, and then further functions are done for complete foundations or whatever structures or infrastructure, superstructure, what's required. That's what we say we do it. And that's why contract should take care of all such activities which are known activities or also unknown activities. Unknown activities means there are so many activities within activities or sub activities, you can say, so many sub activities. We cannot write all activities on papers, but we have to write prime activities which are used for purpose of measurement of progress, measurement of time, like we can say time schedule. That time schedule is not to indicate only time for start and time end for completion for each and every activity, but also overlapping with other activities or also independent parallel work or sequence work. So many points are there which we have discussed in our controls. Gantt chart or bar chart or CPM part, whatever. These require input from experience, from textbooks, from practical books or resources, and from other information whatever we have. But again I would say contract documents are classified for that contractor. These are not for public. These documents which have their own sequence, where contract is considered number one ruler of documents, and then come many other documents like whatever it is, general contracts. After your main contract which is particular contract, then comes you can say bid documents, likewise bonds, likewise specifications, and likewise whatever else, which all constitute together and declare themselves as contract documents. And in a contract there may be thousands of documents, maybe including drawings, specifications or something else. There may be thousands of documents on a project, and it's not easy for one person to know all documents what's written on them, but these are known to some other people who directly have interaction, or you can say they produce those requirements in forms of vessels or equipment, or you can say relate to mechanical and electrical and other disciplines of engineering. And of course electrical electronics too these days. It's not that Only design is important. Design everyone likes, I know, but design is not alone. It cannot move alone. That is also a fact in life. डिज़ाइन अकेला नहीं चल सकता, ये भी समझना आवश्यक है। लाइफ में आपको सब कुछ साथ लेके चलना होता है। एक अभियंता की हैसियत से, एक इंजीनियर की हैसियत से अकेले जाएंगे, लेकिन आपके साथ कौन कौन होना चाहिए वो आवश्यक है। आपके साथ सबसे पहले तो विश्वास होना ज़रूरी है। विश्वास मीन्स टेक्निकल विश्वास, कंस्ट्रक्टिव विश्वास, वो विश्वास जो आपको आगे बढ़ाता है। बिलीफ नहीं, विश्वास की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ। कैलकुलेटेड विश्वास, एकेडमिकली बेस्ड विश्वास, विश्वास आपके अंदर कि ये काम मैं कर सकता हूँ, बहुत ज़रूरी है। कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो, टेक्नोलॉजी हो, सपोर्ट्स हो, सब सपोर्ट है। अगर आप में सब कुछ है, विश्वास नहीं है, विश्वास जो आपको अनुभव से आता है, एक्सपीरियंस से आता है, जिसको हम प्रोफेशनल रिलेशन कहते हैं। अगर आपको एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है तो आप काम भी नहीं कर पाएंगे, सोच नहीं पाएंगे, क्योंकि सोच तब सकते हैं जब आपका काम करने की शक्ति हो, या आपको ये वरी ना करे कि कैसे काम हो रहा होगा। क्योंकि आपको जानने का मतलब है आपने सिखाना भी है दूसरों को। जो आप सिखा चुके हैं, लोग सीखे हैं नहीं सीखे हैं वो अलग बात है, लेकिन कुछ तो सीखे हैं। आई हैव सीन दैट इवन आवर वर्कर्स, workforce people, they know much more sometimes than even I know. It happened. Means maybe they cannot express their views in forms of writing, but they speak sometimes in very common language, whatever is used in that area, and they can do that work. But only point is they cannot record it, they cannot write it to that requirement. And for that purpose, it is ourselves, it's we, us, that can do it. And that's the only reason I try to write something for me. Likewise means it was not a plan, it was just, you can say, action that was done. Depending on requirement, depending on time, and depending on thinking, means I faced some problems during my career, and I should share that real problem with those who would aspire to get some more information, and information which you get inside, original information, how products work, how we use products. And that is, you can never forget, even if nobody explained to you. If you write them in form of method statement, or if you write them in form of clarifications, or whatever system you adopt for the project, those must happen. Those must happen. And if do not happen, this means there is some flaw. There is some flaw in our approach, and that flaw should I'm just talking about which it's not book I'm talking, in fact I'm talking reality. You can read book, it's not big deal, reading is no problem, but reading is one part of book, its understanding, its interpretation is another part. We have gone through many chapters, many clauses, and now we are on care of works and indemnities. काम की केयर करना उतना ही आवश्यक है जितना काम करना तो थोड़े समय में हो जाता है, उसकी केयर बहुत करनी पड़ती है, चाहे वो हैंड ओवर करने से पहले केयर हो या उसकी ऑपरेशन में केयर हो। केयर ऑफ वर्क्स एंड इंडेमनिटीज़, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फॉर केयर ऑफ वर्क्स, किसकी उत्तरदायित्व है किसी भी काम का ध्यान रखना उसको करने से पहले, और वो कैसे किया जाए, इसके लिए क्लॉज है, उसके लिए क्लॉज है ऐसा। और now it says that unless contract is terminated in accordance with these conditions or otherwise subject to liability for care of works, contractor shall take full responsibility for care of works, goods and contractors' documents from commencement date until date of completion of works. When responsibility for care of works shall pass to employer, ध्यान रहे हम क्या कह रहे हैं, period or duration with which work is done, that is in your custody, because site is in your custody. You have not handed over site to employer yet because project is not physically or mechanically complete, but work has been done. We have to take care of whatever work is done, and you can say that you have to protect whatever work has been done from deterioration, from impact of something else. Protection of work is required. Though in construction period when finishings have not started, there is nothing much problematic except that structure moves, and whatever you think you can face problems on structure, and we have to take care of such. So it says very simply, unless contract is terminated in accordance with provisions in this contract or elsewhere, liability of care of works provision applies, and contractor shall take full responsibility for care of all works, all goods and contractors' documents from commencement date to date of completion of works, and to time when owner takes over that work for operation. That period is very significant. It says that when responsibility for care of work shall pass to employer. If taking over certificate is issued for whatever section of part of work, responsibility for care of section part shall be passed to employer. If contract is terminated in accordance with these conditions or otherwise, contractor shall cease to be responsible for care of works from date of termination. जिस दिन काम आपने किया और उस दिन से लेके जिस दिन तक आपने काम को एम्प्लॉयर के हाथ में दिया, जो भी वो गैप है, उस गैप में ड्यूटी कॉन्ट्रैक्टर की है कि काम को सही रखे, काम को नुकसान से बचा के रखे, और जब ये एम्प्लॉयर के हाथ में चला गया तो फिर एम्प्लॉयर की उत्तरदायित्व हो जाता है कि जो भी उसे मिला उसे संभाले, मिला उसको उसके अप्रूवल के बाद तो संभालना ही रह जाता है क्योंकि अप्रूवल तो हो चुकी है. If contract is terminated in accordance with these conditions or otherwise, contractor shall cease to be responsible for care of works from date of termination. हमने टर्मिनेशन की बात की कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को टर्मिनेट कर दिया जाए. टर्मिनेट करने के बाद किसकी जिम्मेदारी आती है? जिम्मेदारी आ जाती है डेट ऑफ टर्मिनेशन से, उसके बाद ऑनर की. If contract is terminated in accordance with these provisions, contractor shall cease to be responsible for care of works from date of termination, and after responsibility has accordingly passed to employer, contractor shall take responsibility for care of whatever work which is outstanding on date of completion until this outstanding work has been completed. जो काम एम्प्लॉयर के हाथ में जा चुका है उसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी तो एम्प्लॉयर की हो जाती है, लेकिन जो काम अभी बाकी है, नहीं हुआ, उसका हाल चाल देखना कॉन्ट्रैक्टर का काम है. आफ्टर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हैज़ accordingly please pass to employer, contractor shall take responsibility for care of work, whatever work which is outstanding, which remains outstanding or on date of completion until this outstanding work has been completed. If whatever loss or damage occurs to works, goods or contractors, documents during period when contractor is responsible for their care from cause whatsoever except as stated in liability for care of works, so that works, goods or contractors documents as case may be comply with contract. आपको ख्याल करना है कागज़ों का भी, सामान के रख रखाव का भी, आगे इसमें कोई नुकसान ना हो और आप सही रहें. ये बात है. इफ़ एनी लॉस और डैमेज occurs to works, goods or contractors documents during period when contractor is responsible for their care from whatever cause whatsoever except as given liability for care of works, contractor shall rectify damage, loss or damage at contractor's risk and cost, so that works, goods or contractors documents, contractors documents case may be comply with contract. Liability for care of works. लाइबिलिटी फॉर केयर ऑफ वर्क्स. लाइबिलिटी एक अजीब शब्द है, इसमें बहुत कुछ आ जाता है. लाइबिलिटी खाली रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है, इसमें सब कुछ आ जाता है. लाइबिलिटी सोचने की बात है. Contractors shall be liable for whatever loss or damage caused by contractor to works, goods or contractor's documents after issue of taking over certificate. Contractor shall also be liable for whatever loss or damage which occurs after issue of taking over certificate and which arose from an event which occurred before issue of taking over certificate for which contractor was liable. Just start to understand what it is said. Contractor shall be liable for loss or damage caused by contractor to works. पक्की बात है, आपकी वजह से हुआ है भाई, आप भुगतिए इसको. Contractor shall also be liable for whatever loss or damage which occurred after issue of taking over certificate and which arose from an event which occurred before issue of taking over certificate for which contractor was liable. काम आपने किया है, इसको एम्प्लॉयर के हाथ में देने से पहले भी आपकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, और उसी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के दौरान उसी देने हैंड ओवर करने से पहले अगर इसमें कुछ ऐसा हुआ है जिससे प्रॉब्लम बाद में भी आ रही है, तो वो डैमेज और नुकसान को देखने की जिम्मेदारी आपकी. अगर इसमें टेक ओवर आपके करने से पहले से कोई प्रॉब्लम है तो उसको देखना पड़ेगा. Contractor shall have no liability whatsoever, whether by way of indemnity or otherwise, for loss or damage to works, goods or contractor's documents caused by whatever following events except to extent that such works, goods, or contractors' documents have been rejected by employer under defects and rejection clause before occurrence of whatever following events. अब हम लिमिट्स बताने जा रहे हैं जो लिंक रखते हैं इसी बात से जो हम कह रहे हैं. इंटरफेरेंस. इंटरफेरेंस मीन्स दखलंदाजी. Interference, whether temporary or permanent, with whatever right of way, light, air, water, or other easement, other than that resulting from contractor's method of construction. इंटरफेरेंस होना चाहे वो अस्थाई हो या स्थाई हो, जिसमें जैसे राइट ऑफ वे है, राइट ऑफ वे, लाइट, एयर, वाटर, रोशनी, हवा, पानी, या ऐसी चीज़ें दो अपने आप मिलती हैं, इसको हम ईजमेंट कहते हैं. अदर देन रिजल्ट फ्रॉम कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स मेथड ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन. अगर वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के मेथड से हुआ है उसको छोड़ दीजिए, और कुछ अपने आप को है तो उसकी लायबिलिटी की बात कर रहे हैं. विच इज़ अनअवॉइडेबल रिजल्ट ऑफ एग्जीक्यूशन ऑफ वर्क्स इन अकॉर्डेंस विद कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. और दूसरा है यूज़ और ऑक्यूपेशन बाय एम्प्लॉयर ऑफ वट एवर पार्ट ऑफ परमानेंट वर्क्स except as may be first was interference, then there is use or occupation by employer of any part of permanent works. एम्प्लॉयर इसको यूज़ कर रहा है, ऑक्यूपाई कर रहा है परमानेंट वर्क को, एक्सेप्ट एज मे बी स्पेसिफाइड इन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. अगर वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में स्पेसिफाइड है तो तब भी. फॉल्ट, एरर, कोई चीज़ गलत हो गई, फॉल्ट हो गई, फॉल्टी हो गई, एरर हो गई, होना था वैसी नहीं हुई. डिफेक्ट और ओमिशन. फॉल्ट, एरर, डिफेक्ट एंड omission in whatever element of design of works by employer other than design carried out by contractor in accordance with contractor's obligations under contract. Operation of forces of nature. Operation of forces of nature. Fault, error, defect or omission in whatever element of design of works by employer other than design carried out by contractor in accordance with contractor's obligations under contract. Operation of forces of nature. Operation of forces of nature other than those allocated to contractor in contract data, which is unforeseeable or against which an experienced contractor could not reasonably have been expected to have taken adequate preventive measures, preventive precautions. Whatever these events or circumstances listed under this provision, exceptional events, and or either act or default, employer's personal law. Given the consequences of exceptional event, if whatever event described above occurs and results in damage to works, goods or contractors' documents, contract shall promptly give notice to employer. Contract shall promptly given notice to employer. Thereafter, contractor shall rectify such loss or damage So these are points. Such instruction shall be deemed to have been given under variation by instruction. If loss or damage to works or goods or contractors' documents results from a combination of these events described and a cause of for which contractor is liable or incurs cost from rectifying loss and damage, contractor shall subject to claims for payment or extension of time provision be entitled to proportion of extension of time and or cost plus profit, cost plus profit to be extend that any above this work, such work are to इसके बाद हमारे पास इंटेलेक्ट ट्रांसलेट नहीं करता, लेकिन ऊपर ऊपर का तो बता देता हूँ, बता भी रहा हूँ, क्योंकि ट्रांसलेशन इम्पोर्टेंट इतना नहीं है जितना समझना ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है। ट्रांसलेशन तो आप कर ही लेंगे, समझ ही जाएंगे, थोड़ी बहुत ही इंग्लिश आपको आती है, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट आप समझते हैं, कंस्ट्रक्शन के आप आदमी हैं, साइंस आपने पढ़ी है, इंजीनियरिंग आपने पढ़ी है, नहीं भी पढ़ी है तो भी, तो जब जो जिम्मेदारी ठेकेदार की है, सिंपल सी बात है, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के हिसाब से उसका जिम्मेदार वो है, और जो उसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी में नहीं आता है उसका रिस्पॉन्सिबल वो नहीं है। दिस व्हाट इज गिवन हियर। कंट्रोल में है, उसकी जारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, उसके हाथ से बाहर होगा फाइनल सर। ये था liability of care of works. Now we go to intellectual and industrial property rights. Intellectual and industrial property rights. Intellectual in this provision, infringement means infringement or alleged infringement of patent, registered design, copyright, trademark and else. Design, copyright, trademark, name, trade secret or other intellectual or industrial property right relating to works and claims means a third party claim or proceedings pursuing a third party claim alleging an infringement. That is infringement of patent, registered design, copyright, trademark, trade name, trade secret, or other intellectual property right. Relating to works and claims made means a third party claim which alleges an infringement. किसी राइट को छीनने की कोशिश करना जो आज तक बनता भी ना हो आपका या बनता भी हो. Wherever, you can say, whenever a party receives a claim but fails to give notice to other party. अभी आपको क्लेम मिला इन्फ्रिंजमेंट का, मान लीजिए. इन्फ्रिंजमेंट किस चीज़ का हुआ था? कोई पेटेंट आपका था, कोई डिज़ाइन आपका था, कॉपी अधिकार, कॉपीराइट आपका था, ट्रेडमार्क आपका था, नेम था आपका, ट्रेड सीक्रेट थे आपके, दूसरे इंटेलेक्चुअल और इंडस्ट्रियल वैल्यू थी आपकी. तो आप कह सकते हैं कि इसका इन्फ्रिंजमेंट हो गया. कोई भी राइट्स थे आपके, इंटेलेक्चुअल राइट था, प्रॉपर्टी राइट था, इंडस्ट्रियल प्रॉपर्टी राइट. Whenever a party receives a notice, when a party receives notice for the party, when a party receives a notice, this is a claim but fails to give notice for the party of claim within 28 days of receiving it, first party shall be deemed to have waived right to indemnify. This one. It's very complex, but it's interesting. It says whenever a party receives a claim but fails to give notice to other party of claim within 28 days, whenever a party receives a claim but fails to give notice to other party of claim within 28 days of receiving it, first party shall be deemed to have waived right to indemnify under this provision. Means inform from any claim, whatever claim possible, employer shall indemnify and hold contractors harmless against and from whatever claim, including legal fees and expenses. A result of works being used by employer for a purpose other than that indicated by or reasonably to be inferred from contractor. In conjunction with whatever not supplied by contractor, unless such use was disclosed to a contractor in mid light. A result of works being used for employer for a purpose other than that indicated by or reasonable to be inferred from contract in conjunction with something not supplied by contractor unless such use was disclosed to contractor before base date or stated in contract. Contract shall indemnify and hold employer harmless against and from whatever other claim contract shall indemnify and hold employer harmless against and from whatever other claim alleging an infringement which arises out of or in relation to contractor's execution of works, use of contractor's equipment. If a party is entitled to whatever if party is entitled to be indemnified under this provision, the indemnifying party may settlement of claim or litigation or arbitration which may arise from other party shall, at request and cost of indemnifying party, assist in contesting claim. This other party and contractor's personal or employer's personal, as case may be, shall not make any admission which might be prejudicial to indemnifying party unless indemnifying party failed to promptly assume overall responsibility for conduct of whatever negotiations. Indemnities by contractor. Indemnities by contractor. थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूजिंग नहीं है, थोड़ा एडवांस टॉक है, तो सोच के समझ के ही तो आगे चलेंगे. सर्दी भी ज़्यादा है, 9 डिग्रीज एट दिस मोमेंट. 9 डिग्रीज में बैठे हैं सुबह सुबह, आंखों में नींद भी है, पर बात तो करनी पड़ती है. Indemnities by contractors. Contractor shall indemnify. Contractor shall indemnify and hold harmless employer. Contractor shall indemnify and hold harmless employer, employer personnel and their respective agents against and from all third-party claims, damages, losses and expenses, including legal fees and you can say Contractor shall indemnify and hold harmless employer's personnel, and their respective agents against and from all third party claims, damages, losses, and expenses, including legal fees and expenses in respect of what? Body injury, bodily injury, sickness, disease, or death of whosoever person whatsoever rising out of or in course of or by reason of contractor's execution of works, unless attributable to whatever negligence willful act, you can say execution of works unless attributable to any whatever negligence, willful act or breach of contract by employer's personnel or either of their respective agents. It says what? Indemnities by contractor. Contractor shall indemnify and hold harmless the employer or personnel and the respective agents against and from all third party claims, damages, losses, and expenses. Regarding what? In respect of body injury. Bodily injury, sickness, disease, or death of whatever person whatsoever rising out of or in course of or by reason of contractor's execution of works, unless attributable to negligence, willful, and breach of contract by EPIC, breach of contract by employer, personnel, or either their respective agents, damage to or loss of whatever property, legal, real, or personal, other than works, to extend that such damage or loss arises out of or in course of by reason of contractors execution of works is attributable to whatever negligence, willful act, or breach of contract by contractors, contractors' personnel, their respective agents, or whatever, directly or indirectly protected. Damage to loss of property, real or personal, other than works to the extent that such damage and losses arises out of or in course of by reason of contractor's execution of works is attributed to whatever negligence, willful act or breach of contract by contractor, contract's personnel, their respective agents, or anyone directly or indirectly employed by any of them. Hold harmless employer against all acts, errors, or omissions by contractor in carrying out contractor's design obligations that result in works or section of part or major items of plans when completed not being fit for purpose for which they are intended under contractor's general obligations. Important part. Contractor shall also indemnify and hold harmless employer against all acts, errors, or omissions by contractor in carrying out contractor's designs, obligations that result in works or section or part of major items of plot work, if any, whatsoever, when completed not being fit for purpose for which they are intended under contractor's general obligations. प्रोजेक्ट पे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की वजह से अगर कोई गलती होती है, कोई कमी रह जाती है और कोई थर्ड पार्टी का क्लेम आ जाता है, किसी भी थर्ड पार्टी का, उसको जिम्मेदारी कॉन्ट्रैक्टर की रहेगी और कॉन्ट्रैक्टर ने एम्प्लॉयर को बचाना है उस इम्पैक्ट से, इंडेमनीफाई करना है, इंडेमनीफाई। और जिम्मेदारी में अगर वो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर की है तो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर भुगतेगा उसको, चाहे वो एक्सप्लेनेशन किसी भी पॉइंट की जो दी गई हैं। और अभी आती हैं इंडेमनिटीज बाय एम्प्लॉयर, क्योंकि लास्ट पैराग्राफ में कॉन्ट्रैक्ट शैल आल्सो इंडेमनीफाई एंड होल्ड हार्मलेस, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट शैल आल्सो इंडेमनीफाई एंड होल्ड हार्मलेस एम्प्लॉयर against all acts, errors or omissions by contractor in carrying out contractor's designs, obligations that results in works or section or part of or major items or plans, if whatever when completed not being fit for purpose for which they are intended under contractor's general obligation. Shared indemnities by employer. I'm sorry, not I have to see this also very important point here. Indemnities by employer. उधर कॉन्ट्रैक्टर की थी, नहीं तो प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है। Indemnities by employer. Employer shall indemnify and hold harmless contractor. जिस तरह से पहले कॉन्ट्रैक्टर ने हार्मलेस रखा एम्प्लॉयर को, उसी तरह से एम्प्लॉयर भी कॉन्ट्रैक्टर को रखेगा। एम्प्लॉयर शैल इंडेमनीफाई एंड होल्ड हार्मलेस contractors personnel and their respective agents against and from all third party claims, damages, losses and expenses, including legal fees and expenses in respect of bodily injury, sickness, disease or death, or loss of or damage to whatever property other than works which is attributable to whatever negligence, willful act or breach of contract by employer, employer's personal or whatever their respective agents. As I said, bodily injury against bodily injury, respect of what? Bodily injury, sickness, disease or death or loss or damage to whatever property other than works which is attributable to whatever negligence, willful act or breach of contract by employer, employer's personal or either of their respective agents. and damage to or loss of property, real or personal, other than works, to extent that such damage or loss arises out of whatever event described under liability. Shared indemnities. ठंड ज़्यादा ही लग रही है भाई. I really is cold. Contractor's liability to indemnify employer. Contractor's liability to indemnify employer under indemnities by contractor and or under intellectual and industrial property rights shall be reduced proportionately to extent that event described under these liability of care of works may have contributed to said damage, loss or injury. Similarly, employer's liability to indemnify contractor under indemnities by employer and or under intellectual and industrial property rights shall be reduced proportionately to extent that event for which contractor is responsible read it again. हमने बातें की कॉन्ट्रैक्टर की इंडेमनिटीज या जिसमें इंटेलेक्चुअल एंड इंडस्ट्रियल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स हमने पढ़े. प्रोपोर्शनेटली ये कम होंगी इसलिए कि इवेंट डिस्क्राइब्ड अंडर दिस लायबिलिटी फॉर केयर ऑफ वर्क्स मे हैव कंट्रीब्यूटेड टू सेट डैमेज, लॉस और इंजरी. और उसी तरह से contractor is responsible for care of works may have contributed to said damage, loss or injury. अब हम आते हैं एक्सेप्शनल इवेंट्स. फोर्स मेजर पहले जानते थे हम, अभी भी वैसे तो वही है. फोर्स मेजर का वही मतलब है. exceptional events जैसा term itself says, which is beyond an event or circumstance which is beyond party's control. हमारे कंट्रोल से बाहर, चाहे मैं एम्प्लॉयर हूँ या मैं कॉन्ट्रैक्टर हूँ, मेरे कंट्रोल से बाहर, उसको कहते हैं एक्सेप्शनल इवेंट. Party could not reasonably have provided against before entering into contract. Having arisen such event, such party could not reasonably have avoided or overcome and is not substantially attributable to other party. An exceptional event may comprise but is not limited to any of following events or circumstances, provided that लेट अस सी इवेंट्स क्या कहते हैं, ये फोर्स मेजर नहीं कहती थी. An exceptional event may comprise but is not limited to any of either following events or circumstances, provided that conditions above are satisfied. You can say war, hostilities, लड़ाई, युद्ध, hostilities, whether war be declared or undeclared, invasion, act of foreign enemies, rebellion, terrorism, revolution, insurrection, military or usurped power, or civil war. Riot, commotion or disorder by persons other than contractor's personnel and other employees of contractor and subcontractors. Strike or lockout, not solely involving contractor's personnel. Encountering munition of war, explosive materials, ionizing radiation, encountering munition of wars, explosive materials, ionizing radiation, or contamination by radioactivity, except as may be attributable to contractors' use of such munition, explosives, radiation, or radioactivity. Natural catastrophe such as earthquake, tsunami, volcanic activity. Then we can say वो एक्टिविटीज़ जो हम रिपीट कर रहे हैं आपको, जिसे हम एक्सेप्शनल कह रहे हैं, फोर्स मेजर कह रहे हैं. फोर्स मेजर भी वही चीज़ है जो ये है, जिसके बारे में हम नहीं जानते थे कि क्या हो सकता है. हम जानते हैं ऐसा होता है, लेकिन उस एरिया में नहीं होता है. वो हम इस बात की हम कह रहे हैं. एक्सेप्शनल इवेंट्स डिफाइन किए गए हैं, वो इवेंट्स जो दोनों पार्टीज़ में से किसी के भी कंट्रोल से बाहर होते हैं, यहाँ तक कि सरकारों के बाहर होते हैं, देश के बाहर होते हैं। वो इवेंट्स जिसको हम कहते हैं वार, हॉस्टिलिटीज़, वार हो जाए, झगड़े हो जाएं, हॉस्टिलिटीज़ हो जाएं, वार बेशक डिक्लेयर्ड हो या अनडिक्लेयर्ड हो, या वार बोल देते हैं। अब यहाँ आएंगे, हमने बताया आपको वार है, हॉस्टिलिटी है, वार डिक्लेयर भी हो सकती है, अनडिक्लेयर भी हो सकती है, विरोधी आ गए, टेररिस्ट आतंकवाद हो गया, क्रांति हो गई, मिलिट्री पावर आ गई, सिविल वार हो गई, झगड़े फसाद, डिसऑर्डर, लॉ एंड ऑर्डर की प्रॉब्लम, स्ट्राइक हो जाना, हड़ताल, तालाबंदी हो जाना, जिसमें कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के पर्सन इन्वॉल्व, एनकाउंटरिंग मिशन ऑफ वॉर, एक्सप्लोसिव मटेरियल, आयोनाइजिंग एजेंट रेडिएशन हो जाना, रेडियो एक्टिविटी का हो जाना, जो भी एट्रीब्यूट्स हैं, और भी कुछ हो सकते हैं। भूचाल आ गया, सुनामी आ गई, नोटिस ऑफ एन एक्सेप्शनल इवेंट। ऐसे इवेंट का सूचना क्या करें, ऐसे इवेंट को कैसे हैंडल करें, ये बहुत ज़रूरी है। ऐसे इवेंट जो किसी के कंट्रोल में हो, कैसे हो, किसी के हाथ में तो नहीं है, क्या किया जाए इसके बारे में। इफ ए पार्टी is or will be prevented from performing obligations under contract due to exceptional event, affected party shall give a notice to other party। जिसको भी पहले ग्रीवेंस हुई, नोटिस देगी दूसरे को। affected party shall give a notice to other party of such an exceptional event and shall specify obligations and in turn yes. If a party is or shall be prevented from performing obligations under contract due to exceptional event, affected party, this clause shall, affected party shall give a notice to other party of such an exceptional event and shall specify obligations, performance of which is or shall be prevented. That is called prevented obligation in this clause. Prevented obligation. जो पार्टी को नुकसान हो रहा है, काम नहीं कर पा रही है, वो दूसरी पार्टी को नोटिस देके कि इस वजह से मेरा काम नहीं है, कारण से, और वो कारण ये है, इसका नाम है प्रिवेंटेड ऑब्लिगेशन। मेरा ये काम नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ इसकी वजह से, इस इवेंट की वजह से, वो नोटिस देगी एक दूसरे को। This notice shall be given within 14 days after affected party becomes aware. This notice shall be given within 14 days after affected party becomes aware or should have become aware of exceptional event, and affected party then be excused. Affected party shall then be excused performance of prevented obligation. You can see in this case, this notice shall be given within 14 days after affected party becomes aware or should have become aware of exceptional event, and affected party shall then be excused performance of prevented obligations from date such performance is prevented by exceptional event. If this notice is received by other party after this period of 14 days, affected party shall be excused performance of prevented obligations only from date on which this notice is received by other party. 14 दिन के अंदर अंदर जिस पार्टी का काम रुक रहा है, एक्सेप्शनल इवेंट के कारण नोटिस देना होगा, और जिस दिन से काम रुका उस दिन से उसको माना जाएगा कि ये उसकी वजह से है, इवेंट्स की वजह से। और अगर 14 दिन में वो नहीं देती है, 14 दिन के बाद मिलता है दूसरी पार्टी को, उसके बाद भी एक्सक्यूज तो किया जाएगा, लेकिन नोटिस मिलने के बाद। Date on which notice is received by other party. Thereafter, affected party shall be excused performance. Thereafter, affected party shall be excused performance of prevented obligations for so long as such exceptional event those activities, those works. Other than performance of prevented obligations, affected party shall not be excused performance of all other obligations under contract. सिर्फ ये काम जो परफॉर्म में आए एक्सपेक्टेड इवेंट्स की वजह से, उनका तो एक्सक्यूज़ मिलेगा प्रिवेंटेड आइटम्स का, प्रिवेंटेड परफॉर्मेंस का, लेकिन जो हो सकते हैं उस पर कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ेगा इस बात का। However, obligations of either party to make payments due to other party under contract shall not be excused by an exceptional event. एक्सेप्शनल इवेंट्स होने की वजह से आप एक्सक्यूज़ नहीं ले सकते कि हम इसको पेमेंट ना करें, आएगा तो देखा जाएगा दोबारा जब आएगा। ऐसे astonishing. However, obligation of either party to make payment due to other party under this contract shall not be excused by exceptional event. पेमेंट तो आपको देनी ही पड़ेगी जब to minimize whatever delay in performance of contract as a result of exceptional event. दोनों पार्टियां ध्यान देंगी इस तरफ कि जो एक्सेप्शनल इवेंट की वजह से देर हो रही है उसको कैसे कम किया जाए. Each party shall at all times use all reasonable endeavors to minimize whatever delay in performance of contract which is a result of exceptional event. कैसे इस डिले के नुकसान को कम किया जाए, दोनों पार्टी उसके लिए जो भी हो सकता है वो करेंगे. इफ एक्सेप्शन after giving first notice under notice of an exceptional event, affected party shall immediately give a notice to other party when affected party ceases to be affected by exceptional event. जब दूसरी पार्टी को may give a notice to affected party stating that other party considers that affected party's performance is no longer prevented by exceptional event with reasons. 28 दिन के बाद तो आपने रिपीट किया, लेकिन जब आपके इवेंट्स ख़त्म हो गए, आपकी समस्या सुलझ गई, अब अनएक्सपेक्टेड इवेंट नहीं आ रहे, यू कैन से अनएक्सपेक्टेड इवेंट नहीं आ रहे, तो आपकी ड्यूटी बनती है कि आप पार्टी को कहेंगे मैं काम दोबारा शुरू कर रहा हूँ, या आप नहीं देते तो दूसरी पार्टी कहे कि आपकी अफेक्टेड इवेंट्स अनएक्सपेक्टेड इवेंट्स समाप्त हो चुके हैं और आप काम शुरू कर सकते हैं. ये इस पैरा में लिखा है. इट्स इंटरेस्टिंग वन. थिंक ऑफ दिस. अगेन आई रीड फॉर यू. Each party shall at all time use reasonable endeavors to minimize delays in performance of contract as a result of exceptional event. In exceptional event has a continuing effect. Affected party shall give notice at describing event every 28 days, and in case when this event is over, affected party shall write to other party that my events are over, I am going to start work. And in case affected party doesn't do that, then other party can ask the affected party events are over, start work. That's all. Consequences of exception. Contract is affected party. If ठेकेदार affect हो गया है, unexpected incurs cost by reason of exceptional events, of which he gave a notice under subclause notice of an exceptional event. So it's so simple. You can say if contractor is affected party and suffers delay and or incurs cost by reason of exceptional event of which a notice under subclause notice of an exceptional event, contractor shall be entitled subject to claims for payment and EOT clause to EOT extension of time and or an exceptional event is of kind described in this paragraph exceptional events, and in case of subparagraph you can say the subsection as occurs in country payment of such costs. So you can say if exceptional event is of kind described in subparagraph exceptional events, and in case of subparagraph of that subclause occurs in country payment of such cost. Let's continue with this exercise because it period of 84 days by reason of an exceptional event or exceptional event of which notice has been given under notice of an exceptional event or for multiple periods which total more than 140 days due to same exceptional event, then either party may give to other party a notice of termination of contract. 84 दिन 84 days 12 weeks या 140 दिन means 20 weeks, 7 weeks to 20 weeks. Again I read this. 84 दिन तक अगर ये चलता है, काम को प्रभावित करता है 84 दिन तक एक्सेप्शनल इवेंट जिसका नोटिस दिया जा चुका है, या मल्टीपल पीरियड लग जाते हैं जिसमें 20 हफ्ते हो if execution of substantially all works in progress prevented for a continuous period of 84 days by reason of exceptional event of which notice has been given under notice of an exceptional event, or for multiple periods which total more than 140 days due to whatever exceptional event, then neither party may give to other party a notice of termination of contract. In this event, date of termination shall be date 7 days after notice is received by other party. employer's representative of value of work done, which must include value of work done after date of termination. Contractor shall, as soon as include amounts payable for whatever work carried out for which a price is stated in contract. Cost of plant and materials ordered for works which have been delivered in contract plant. You can say after date of termination, court shall as soon as practical submit details supporting particulars such as may be required by employer representative for value of work done, which shall include amounts payable for any work done for which price is stated in the contract, cost of plant and materials order for works which have been delivered to contractor or of which contractor is liable to accept delivery. And cost of plant and materials ordered for works which have been delivered to contractor of which contractor is liable to accept delivery. This plant and materials shall become property of and be taken at risk of employer and paid for, by which contractor shall place same at employer's disposal. No point any other cost or liability. So let's first talk of this, and meanwhile let me come back after a couple of minutes. It's useful. Meanwhile hold it. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Alright.
एक्सेप्शनल इवेंट्स की बात कर रहे थे, बीच में जाना पड़ गया इसलिए थोड़ी देर हो गई. डोंट वरी, आई कंटिन्यू व्हाट आई वाज डूइंग. इट्स रियली वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट वी कंटिन्यू अबाउट व्हाट शुड बी कंटिन्यूड. हमने कहा था, वी टोल्ड अबाउट दिस in this optional termination because of an exceptional events or unexpected events, you can say, or force majeure, in which we talked about how notice can be served in 84 days requirement and 140 days requirement. Both we discussed about optional termination and also what should be done, what should not be done. And we said after termination what should be done and how representative should be given complete details, and then way to calculate what amount payable for works carried out, and if it is priced in, okay, and if it's not priced in, then we have to pay for plants and machinery, plants and materials, whatever have been delivered or would be delivered in due time. And of course this shall become property of employer when paid by employer, and after having delivered after having been delivered to contractor shall place all these items at employer's disposal. This was in this clause, I repeat. After date of termination, contractor shall, as soon as practicable, submit detailed supporting particulars of value of work done, which must include amounts payable for whatever work carried out for which a price is stated in contract, and cost of plant and materials ordered for works which have been delivered to contractor or of which contractor is liable to accept delivery. This plant and material shall become property of and be at risk of employer when paid for by employer, and contractor shall place same at employer's disposal. Whatever other cost or liability which in circumstances was reasonably incurred by contractor in expectation of completing works. Cost of removal of temporary works and contractors' equipment from site and return of these items to contractor's place of business in contractor's country or to whatever other destinations at no greater cost. Cost of repatriation of contractors, staff and workers employed wholly in connection with works at date of termination. Employer representative shall then proceed under agreement or determination clause to agree or determine value of work done, time limits, date employer's representative receives contractor's particulars under subclause shall be date of commencement of time limit for agreement. Employer shall issue a notice under subclause notice of interim payment for amount so agreed or determined without need for contractor to submit a statement. This was about payment. पैसा कैसे दिया जाए, पेमेंट उस काम की दी जाएगी जो वो कर चुका है कॉन्ट्रैक्टर, और जिस काम से रोका जा रहा है वो टर्मिनेशन हो रही है, तो टर्मिनेशन के बाद जो भी काम उसने किया है, जो भी मटेरियल उसने ऑर्डर किया है, जो भी प्लांट उसने ऑर्डर किया है, अगर उस आइटम्स का जो उसने काम किया है प्राइस है तो प्राइस पे होगा, और प्लांट और मटेरियल जो ऑर्डर किए गए हैं उनका आइटम प्राइस नहीं है, तो जितना भी उसका खर्चा हुआ है वो देगा एम्प्लॉयर, और जो भी उसके मिसलिनियस खर्चे हैं प्लांट के मटेरियल के जो ऑर्डर हो चुके हैं और जो आने वाले हैं या डिलीवर हो चुके हैं, सबका पैसा देगा, सबका खर्चा करेगा। इसी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के हिसाब से जो भी लायबिलिटी होगी पूरा किया जाएगा। उसके पश्चात कोई भी टेम्प्ररी वर्क है, कोई भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स का इक्विपमेंट है, जो भी है
contests of removal of temporary works and contractors' equipment from site and return of these items to contractors' place of business in contractors' country, वो सब कुछ होगा. कॉस्ट ऑफ रिपेट्रेशन वर्कर्स की भी इसमें ये सब कुछ होगा. एक कॉम्प्लिकेटेड केस, बहुत नाजुक केस, इसको हमें देखना होगा. बहुत आसान नहीं है. और उसकी सब जब आपको पता लग जाएगा, उसकी रिप्रेजेंटेशन आ जाएगी, एम्प्लॉयर्स के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव की डिटेल्स आ जाएंगी, तो एम्प्लॉयर नोटिस देगा और नोटिस के रिसीट के बाद वो लागू हो जाएगा. उसके बाद रिलीज फ्रॉम परफॉर्मेंस अंडर लॉ. रिलीज फ्रॉम परफॉर्मेंस अंडर लॉ, नियम के हिसाब से, कानून के हिसाब से उसका रिलीज़ कैसे हो, वो भी हमें देखने की आवश्यकता. और ये है से रिलीज फ्रॉम परफॉर्मेंस अंडर लॉ in addition to whatever other provision of this clause, if event arises outside control of parties, including but not limited to exceptional event which release from performance under law. It says, in addition to whatever other provision of this clause, if event arises outside control of parties, including but not limited to exceptional event which makes it impossible or unlawful for either party or both parties to fulfill their contractual obligations or under law governing contract, entitles parties to be released from further performance of contract. ऐसा कुछ बदलाव आ जाए नियम में, किसी और चीज़ में, जो असंभव कर दे दोनों पार्टियों को अपनी अपनी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की ड्यूटी निभाने में. In addition to whatever other provisions of this clause, if event arises outside control of both parties and also not limited to exceptional events and makes it impossible or unlawful for either party or both parties to fulfill their contractual obligations or under law governing contract, entitles parties to be released from further performance of contract, and if parties are unable to agree on amended or amendment of contract, if parties are unable to agree on an amendment to contract that permit continued performance of contract, and after either party gives a notice to other party of such event, parties shall be discharged from further performance and without prejudice to rights of either party in respect of whatever previous breach of contract. Parties shall be discharged from further performance and without prejudice to rights of either party in respect of whatever previous breach of contract, and amount payable by employer to contractor shall be same as would have been paid or would have been payable under optional termination, and such amount shall be paid by employer as if contract had been terminated under sub clause. ऐसे हालात हो जाएं किसी भी वजह से जिसमें कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को रिलीज किया जाए, परफॉर्मेंस को, चाहे वो नियम के अनुसार कुछ सुधार हों, कोई लॉ में चेंजेस हों जो कि एक्सेप्शनल इवेंट से भी बाहर हो, जो दोनों पार्टीज़ को, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर को, एम्प्लॉयर को असंभव बना दे या अनलॉफुल वो काम हो, दोनों पार्टीज़ अपने अपने ऑब्लिगेशन, अपने अपने रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में हैं उसको ना निभा पाएँ, उस केस में, उस हालात में कानून के हिसाब से जो उस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को गवर्न करता है उनको रिलीज़ करना है, वो आगे काम ना कर पाएँ, उसे रिलीज़ होना होगा, या वो दोनों पार्टी उस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को जो एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है बीच कॉन्ट्रैक्ट और एम्प्लॉयर के बीच में, वो नहीं मानती उस सुधार को जो हो गए हैं, उनको वो नहीं मानते, उस केस में एक दूसरे को नोटिस देकर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को डिस्चार्ज करना पड़ता है। अगर वो पार्टी नहीं मानती हैं उन सुधारों को कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के ऊपर जो किए जाएँ, जो कि सुधार करने के बाद अगर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट चल सके, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कंटिन्यू परफॉर्म हो सके, उसमें अगर कोई भी पार्टी उस सुधार को नहीं मानती है तो वो नोटिस देगी दूसरी पार्टी को, जिससे कि पार्टी का डिस्चार्ज हो जाए आगे काम करने की वजह से। वो ना करे, उसे डिस्चार्ज दे दें, पर उसके अधिकार जो पहले हो चुके हैं वो ख़त्म ना हो, उसके अधिकार का कोई असर ना पड़े प्रीवियस ब्रीच का, और वो अमाउंट जो एम्प्लॉयर ने देना है कॉन्ट्रैक्टर को वो देना होगा, देना पड़ेगा। ये है क्लॉज का टाइटल, रिलीज फ्रॉम परफॉर्मेंस अंडर लॉ। बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट, लेकिन मुझे नहीं लगता ये बहुत कॉमन है। इट्स नॉट वेरी कॉमन, आई एम श्योर इट्स वेरी वेरी रेयर, पॉसिबली very very rare, and so far it's very important that we have to understand first contract in its entirety. We have gone through various points of suspension and termination. We have gone through various points of relations between contractor and employer. We should not forget that relation between contractor and employer are very solid because of contract. These are very delicate because of trust. And of course, you can define anything. In fact, even though there is a contract, there is definition, there are contract documents. Contract is not one-page contract or 10-page contract. This contract of construction or design and construction, such contracts are very very lengthy, you can say. Even if you give it to one advocate, I think advocate may not be capable to fully comprehend what contract is, because these are not actually contracts, these are books. You can say books. When you have contracts, say millions of projects, you may have millions worth of projects, and every project shall have millions of you can say multi-million cost, and each item is based on technical or engineering basis. It's then very difficult for a person who does not understand technical work to comprehend thoroughly such contracts, because it's not language that we are worried about. In context particularly, keep in mind that language is not very much of worry. It's not English language actually that we are worried about. In contract world, it is essence of what you want to say. English is of course used as medium, but this is engineering and contextual language. It's not English. It's not something assumptive, it is something that is realistic. That's a very important point.
Language is not a barrier in a contract, but a support. We have not to argue about language here because our target is work. Our target is work. We are not going to dispute with rights of personal rights of others. It is professional work. Relation between employer and contractors are professionally based. These are not personal relations. These are not family relations. This cannot be counted in different spirit of law. You cannot consider contract as courts consider other relations. These are working relations, you can say. When we do contract, we enter into a world of contract. In fact, it's just indication that we have to finish this project, and explanations are provided, elaborations are given as much as possible, keeping in view practicalities of work. Clearance or clarifications are included to a maximum extent, but even then, because of vast magnitude, vast vistas of contract, voluminous documents, everything cannot be scrutinized to that level it should be because of so many constraints, so many restrictions. But spirit of essence cannot be defeated. If we know that it is work to be done, we know what work is to be done. Every engineer knows, every contractor knows. These contract forms which we are discussing, it may be silver book or red book, these are, not like you have to bind each other with lock and key. It is something that we understand. Every contractor, every employer, every professional engineer understands these. Every planning engineer, every quantity engineer, those who deal with contracts, they certainly and of course they understand what they are saying, what they want to say. You cannot simply go to English structure here, because English structure is not an issue here. It is communicative English that we are going to use in this, and therefore what sentence it is submitted in, it is represented past tense or present tense or future tense, or active voice or passive voice. Those points do not count in such composition of contract phrases or contract clauses. As far as meaning is communicated, interpretation is communicated, it is to apply on works and not on persons. That is first point. It's not related to persons. Even name of contractor or name of employer is given only in contract form. It's not given elsewhere. We employ drawings, many classes of drawings. We employ specific drawings, general drawings, standard drawings, reference drawings, and also similarly we employ general specifications, particular specifications, or something based on work specifications or traditional specifications. Likewise, we employ conditions, general conditions of contract, particular conditions of contract, this one and that one, because we want to keep something clear, something not mix up. When we say general conditions, means this is something very everybody knows, means you do not go to read again and again and again. It's only a question of formality that we either refer to general conditions or we attach one copy of general conditions, which is not necessary because general conditions are always available. Those general conditions cannot be isolated, and if there is some replacement of those conditions or amendment of those conditions, it's very easily reflected in particular conditions which are meant for that, or you may also say specific conditions or special conditions particularly applicable for that work, for that project. That is really very different type of concept we have.
We cannot generalize everything, and that's why I say quality can never be must compromise. And this is the quality of contract you're talking of. Quality of contract that must be composed by certain professional, and that professional should be qualified one and should be competent one. And that's why we can say that we have to be very realistic about that. Contract performance, it's like insurance, insurance of something we know. It's not something new. Maybe 25 to 10% conditions are replaced out of, let us say, there will be 21 clauses in FIDIC, red or silver, and these 21 clauses may have 5 more clauses. So let us 100 to 200 conditions apply. You can say these can be considered general conditions likewise, or if you don't apply FIDIC, you can have your own national general conditions of contract, which many nations have used in past to have. General conditions of Qatar, general conditions of Bahrain, maybe general conditions of England, likewise means it depends. Those conditions are repetitive, and it's not necessary to go again and again onto that, because these are common sense based conditions and we cannot change them. Even if you want to change them, there gives no fertility in that. No fertilities are used and no fertilities can come in, and that attempt can be futile except where you can say it impacts on cost, or impacts on time, or impacts on quality. Those conditions are flexible, those conditions can be replaced, but there's no such conditions in general one that you have to refer to them for that quality. You can say specific conditions or particular conditions can be thrown, can be designed, and if you want to design some conditions, you can say particular conditions can specifically design or draw. For contracts, not general conditions, and the particular conditions consume time. It depends on what type of work you want to do. There can be different type of condition depending on what sort of contract it is. Maybe it's a road contract, it's a flyover contract, it's a contract of building high rise, it's a contract of plant infrastructure, contract of something else, contract of service, contract of supplies. Hence, there are different classes and categories of contracts that we can take care of the particular condition. The particular conditions are, of course, significant. But when you see the scope of work, scope of contract, then those particular conditions also do not work much well, because we know what's the scope, and in fact, during tender time, everything is sorted out. Tender takes time. It's not one-day job. It depends on the size of project. And a lot of research work is done during contracting, and those organizations which do these, they can do better contracting work, and they can understand. It's not question of pricing alone, because pricing can be reduced, pricing can be increased, but that doesn't solve problem. It doesn't have employer as well. If employer thinks I get 1% lesser quotation from this, or tender price from this party, and I may save 1%, 2%, I think no employer shall move that way, because it's not question of saving alone, it's question of saving time, and it's question of getting quality first. And we have to see future of that life cycle cost of that project. If I try to save 1% today and I have to spend 5% during 5% more during operational time, I think it's better to save those 5% rather than spending this 1%. Why not to give more price than what is a real one, if I can save maintenance cost or reduce that one, or we can say we can do better, we can better use. But it's a question of administration, because of principles, that why do you pay more when you can do work with lesser cost. But when question comes on life cycle, if I can use this building successfully with one technology, why not use that technology? Why go for a technology which is defeated one? That's where point lies with importance. So I mean to say, I'm not saying that you give more price, but we have to consider efficiency of contract, how this contract can perform better than what we think it is. Therefore, we have to think a lot in that.
And likewise, we can say we can constitute particular conditions, because it is not conditions that will rule, it is specifications that will give quality. And we can analyze specifications which are, of course, fixed one depending on what item it is. General specifications everybody knows. Again, I say, just like general conditions of contract, general specifications on contract, these are published documents by every country or by companies. But particular items, as I said, specifications, project specific, usually call them, which are derived one, these are designed one, and based on their own research work, some specifications can be included in contract. You have to do work like this, you have to achieve this, this is minimum requirement. So when such situation arises, it can impact cost. So you can say, to that extent we have to work out on research or on our calculations what price it would be, how this can be saved, to that extent only, not more than that. So that's what I say, that is beyond general capacity of legal people, that is beyond general capacity of ordinary engineers. So you can say, when you have to enter into elaborated study of such contracts, so that is essence of contract. You have to study everything in details, in technicalities, in not simply contextual points. Yes, it is to say that whatever conditions we adopt, those should be coordinated one. Clause should not clash with other clause, provision should not clash with other provision, and if there is some problem, that should be charted out at time of bidding. Specifications are more significant than conditions. Conditions are clearly shown. Few one, that data shows, contract data shows. This is time limit, that is very important. We have to be very strict on time limit, because nobody can rule that. It's employer's wish, and contractor has to agree, because contract duration impacts on speed of contract running, speed of contract progress, and cost of that. And because contractor has limited capacity, it is contractor to decide whether or not to opt for that project. And once you have done that, means you have to do it, and doing it is also again very difficult, because you have to arrange resources. So it's more important in a way contract, way bidding documents based on your capacity and not because of law. Law applies to workers, law applies to some road, law applies to some permit, We have insurance, etc., health facility, etc. Those are different categories, but as far as main points are concerned, we have to worry about quality of a contract. What quality requirement is? How can we give that? Can we give that, or we have to change ourselves to give that? We have to do certain modification work on that. That's very important point, which we cannot just run away from responsibilities, and we have to fulfill contract requirements. And that's why I'm saying it is something 90% technical in contracts, and that's also part of contract document. Every specification is a part of document, every drawing is a part of document, and whatever we think and we do ourselves, scheduling is a document which no law can bind. It's work we have to decide, and quantities no law can bind. It is work that we have to decide. How this work is achieved, it's also no law can do it. Means there's no involvement. So you can say, as far as contract is concerned, it's 80 to 90% to be designed by professional engineers and not by advocates. Yes, there can be something. They may advise, or they may formally chart out your requirements first time, that even though English is a question again, and we do not bother about English, but communication, that essence or meaning of phrasing should be clear. It doesn't matter
how many times shall is used in one paragraph. It doesn't matter how many times will is used in one paragraph. It doesn't matter as far as contract is concerned. But it is better if you use good English. There's nothing wrong with that. It's appreciable. But that is not a barricade. That is not an obstruction en route your contract formation. So purpose of my statement is very simple. When we say quality, we have to achieve quality on contracts also. It's not simply quality we can imagine. Quality, when we say system quality, which system it is, that we have to understand. It's not 10 clauses, 10 articles of ISO 9000 AnnexSL. It's complete requirement. Our document should be quality oriented. Documents means drawings, specifications, and all other documents, contract general conditions. Of course, these are standard ones, but contract particular conditions, they should be clearly designed. There should be no deficiency in them. A thought is required to be provided behind that, so that site guy or manager on site understands, organizer understands very well. Organizers of both employer and contractor, they should understand what is intended to be done. And that intention has no relation to whether comma is missing or full stop is missing or mark of interrogation is missing. These do not have any meaning. When concrete is to be laid, work is to be done, blocks are to be done, whatever action to be taken on site is taken. These descriptions do not value. Specifications are available for every activity. Those specifications, big volumes are available. If you see Qatar civil specifications, you will find many big books, many big volumes. Similarly, on every project, you will find long books of volumes. You can see many thick volumes you will find. And in one instance, first instance, every engineer says, I have to go through these documents. I have to go through all these volumes. Oh my God, it will take 6 months to study. But it's not true. You have to know which area is of essence, which area is of significance, and where you have to start with. And you have to program out chart of a bar chart of CPM. From that viewpoint, we can see these documents I require first. These quantities I know first. This contract data is giving me time. In this time, I have to complete this project. That type of initial still is significant. And once you grip up, we pick up every part of contract after drawings are seen, after scope of work is seen, after you know what you are going to do, how you are going to plan, what's your time, what time is for initial mobilization, what time is for testing, commissioning, etc. And what's time left, which one is which season, where you can expect rain in which time, you can expect disaster in this time. Disaster means storm, for example, or you being experienced contracting company in that area, we understand how this area conducts and what is expected of soil investigation. These are all experiences, because you a new person, you're not, you're a very experienced contractor, you have experienced staff, so you have to understand those documents. Sometimes this document contains 500 pages, but you go and scrutinize that, you will find only 50 pages are important. All others are same, just formal. So that's where your mindset works, your analytical power works, and that's very important. That analytical power cannot be disregarded. And if you have experience, then you will just keep touch with that. Okay, I'll check. I take all these documents, and maybe in 3 or 4 days, I'll study them and come back to you. And that happens actually, because you are not going to understand the specification in one day. There's no meaning of wasting time on that. Maybe there are 50 or 100 specifications on one project, and no one can read that in one day. It's practically impossible. You cannot study that one day, but that's also true that you have to study in one day because of planning. But in that case, you can say you have to study content, or you can say study essence of those specifications, like the experience. You can say, oh, it takes so much time on this sheet, it takes so much time on this, it takes so much time on that. That's what we do, and that's the only point you have to understand.
So we have to understand contract. That one is very simple study. I can say for experience. If I am an experienced person, I have done one or two projects, I understand what engineering is contract. It doesn't mean that I have to go to contract institute. No, not at all. I understand what is contract. It's very simple. And if you have experience on a project, I don't think it's a difficult job. Because if you go to contract school or law, you will not get any information what you expect. Because it is very specific law. Contract is very specific, and I don't require any legal feedback on this. Yes, there are certain acts, for example, Contract Act, workers related laws, or you can say road traffic laws, 405 laws, insurance laws, health laws. These can be read, these bare acts can be read, or some references can be read. It's not a big deal, and we can understand input from everywhere. And it is after all cost element that we have to consider. What is spent on health, safety, health and environment when we operate this on workers and site? What is spent on insurance? What is spent on health? How many % people can fall sick? We know all that. Hardly 1 or 2% people are affected, particularly in industrial sectors. Just like we say, when you do your health insurance in society, you spend money, and how many % cases are reported? So it is just, you can say, it's not very big issue. That percentage every company knows what element they have to take for safety, what element they have to take for health, what element they have to take for promotion, what element they have to take for site expenses, mobilization, and all these we say generally experience tells. And even output of workers is known for general items. How many blocks one group can do, one mason can do, how many square meter of formwork an average person can do, average carpenter. This, every company has certain data, output data, and those can be made use of while calculating, computing our contract. And that is really very important point. Every engineer must understand. Same way, when there are very particular conditions also, every experienced person, every estimator knows what impact it shall give on contract, and is this time given in contract data is reasonable, or it's expanded one, or it's squeezed one. That can be studied. Sometimes we see time gap is more and work is less, and sometimes it is overloaded. It depends. And no contractor shall like to recruit people unnecessarily, because if suppose you do not get another project, then where shall you employ them? So a moderation is required, which leads to subcontracting or PT contracting also, which is not like a contracting but giving some work to some tradesperson with experienced one, so that person can take care of work, and that's very important one. So with this, I'll continue next time. I think you got some point. We'll discuss in general also about this contract and site connections, and we'll see our remaining points, and then we'll jump onto arbitration considerations also. It's a long discussion within I will take some technical points as well. Technical concerns, some more files that we shared with you, many files, and we'll see how this work. एंड दिस वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ये कहना आसान है कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को चलाना इतना आसान है, लेकिन मैं नहीं समझता कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक डरना चाहिए. ठीक है, इसमें मैथमेटिक्स नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, लेकिन ये अच्छी बात है कि हमको समझना होगा. अभी आगे बात करेंगे आपसे.